Horizon has become a pretty cool computer vision solution or platform, if you like to call it that, that covers a range of use cases in a range of industries.
Welcome to Coffee with Mr. IoT, a weekly chat with Robert Schmidt, Deloitte's chief futurist, and the builders, dreamers, founders, and wild children of the IoT universe. This podcast can also be viewed on the Coffee with Mr. IoT YouTube channel.
Hello, my name is Robert Schmidt. I'm Deloitte's chief futurist, also known as Mr. IoT. Welcome to another Coffee with Mr. IoT. Today, my guest is Rick Leblanc, and Rick was one of the executive team members at Bluespurs, and now he's our business development leader for Deloitte Horizon. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Robert. Awesome. And thanks for the opportunity. Nice to be here.
First of all, it's a weird time. I always want to start by asking, how are you doing? How are you and how is your family doing?
Well, I appreciate that. We're safe. We're all going a little stir crazy, but I'm an empty nester, so it's just my wife and I, so we can coexist quite well together. I feel for families that have to, be so confined. It is a challenge, but no, we're all safe. I hope the same with you and your listeners.
My wife reminded me that this might be the most we've ever been together in one piece because of me being home all the time, which I thought was kind of funny.
I know that feeling.
Both ways. So
yeah, exactly.
So tell us, what is Deloitte Horizon? What do you work on? Give us a little bit of an intro, because I think it's a super exciting product and the work you do is pretty amazing.
Yeah, we like to think it's pretty cool stuff. So, just the background, we got into this as a long-term Amazon Web Service partner. We've been working with AWS for probably 8 years as a part of their Canadian alliance partners. And about 2.5 years ago, they approached us with a Canadian retail challenge or Canadian retailer challenge. And they were looking at how could we leverage facial recognition technology without the costs that are usually involved in the compute part of recognition technology. So we took that challenge on, and we've been able to help that very first client, that first retailer, by launching now across 300 stores in their ecosystem. And effectively, it's a persons of interest capability and real-time notification and real-time tracking of the individual. And so as we've evolved, Horizon now has become a capability or a platform that can not only do facial recognition, but we can track objects. That could be a truck, it could be a car. And more recently, we've built out an inspection algorithm. So think of rail cars, think of automotive cars, think of pipelines, and certain anomalies that you need to detect. Horizon has the ability to actually be trained to recognize what that should look like, and then pick up the anomalies as they are looking at the process or the item. So Horizon has become a pretty cool computer vision solution or platform, if you like to call it that, that covers a range of use cases in a range of industries.
I wrote an article a few weeks ago, and my theme about it was, if you and I can see it, the computer can see it. And so I find that today we use webcams for like this stuff, right? But I think we haven't really started using webcams as much as you talk about in the business sense and the factory sense. What was one of the use cases that surprised you the most, that actually a video camera or an image can actually give you results that you didn't expect?
I have to say the more recent one is with an oil and gas giant in the Gulf of Mexico. I won't name the company, but there's only a few, so you can pretty much guess it. But we were asked, could we actually find corrosion on a portion of a pipeline? And I'm a cup half full kind of guy, so I'm usually optimistic we can do anything. However, to actually see it, so in a period of 3 weeks, we were able to ingest or train Horizon to take about 600 images of actual corrosion, and then match that into the actual system, and then come back and say, okay, 3 weeks later, we could take real-time images and show that client where the corrosion was on the pipeline and the percentage of probability that that is corrosion. Now that was tricky, but then our innovative team said we could actually look at peeling paint on the pipeline, which is not as obvious. So the corrosion is colored, right? It's where a piece of paint is just a bubbling up from the surface. And sure enough, Horizon was able to detect and determine the percentage of accuracy that that was actually peeling paint, so, or bubbling paint. So that to me was an aha moment. So the ability to have technology step in and do food inspection or any kind of inspection that doesn't involve a human. There's safety reasons, obviously, nowadays. And then, of course, it's just the cost and the consistency is another key thing that we noticed. Horizon picks up things that the human eye, in one case, would see, but the other human might not pick up. So we're very impressed with that piece of the technology. And I think that's probably where you're going to see a lot of growth for Horizon inside of Deloitte.
Gotta tell you, 3 weeks, that's an amazing number. I mean, to train something and get something out of it in 3 weeks and then start a pipeline can be very, very long. Did you use drone pictures for this?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We took some stock images and then we got some images from the client. But that being said, our drone team was in the same meeting as we were. We didn't know we had a drone team. So, you know, Deloitte being so big and us being so new inside of Deloitte, it just presented a new opportunity. So we're now working with the drone team to harness the power of we can use any IP camera, Robert. So we just have to have a camera attached to the drone that could go along a pipeline. But we're also talking to some utility companies that have issues with the utility infrastructure. And well, how do they know where it is, right? So those are the kind of things that I could see us working with the drone team much more effectively.
Yeah, I learned somewhere along the way, being with Deloitte for quite a while, that when someone asks you, is Deloitte doing this? I never say no anymore until I actually go back and ask a few people, because chances are there is someone in Deloitte who's doing exactly that. And it's just impossible for me to know all of them. So
exactly.
like I found you, it was amazing.
Well, yeah, that's right. You did.
So Rick, question for you. You talked about 3 weeks. You talked that you run on AWS. AWS has built-in image recognition and machine learning and all this stuff. So what's Horizon on top of it? I mean, I'm assuming there is a big time saving to start with. So maybe you can give us some perspective on how much time you take. And just sort of like help me differentiate the two, because I think it's always confusing for me. What's the platform? What's the cloud platform? Platforms. And you were making a joke about that anyhow. So curious.
No, hey, that's an excellent question. So what we've positioned in Horizon as is the algorithm or the plumbing, and it's an edge-based approach. And so folks that don't understand edge, it's a localized device that reduces the compute need and the compute costs. So some people would say, well, why don't we just go directly to the cloud and do facial recognition? You're more than welcome to do that at a price point that would be much higher. So Horizon does 2 or 3 different things. One is we use multiple cloud platforms. So we are agnostic in that respect. We use Edge as a local device, and that reduces compute costs. But the third is we have patent pending on a capability for tracking. So we can not only tell you, hey, that's Robert, we can tell you where Robert is. Now, that's not for an invasion of privacy factor. That's mainly for you've signed up for a loyalty program and you want to get incentivized. So it's that kind of reason you want your photo to be shared and you want to have the ability to track. Or it could be in safety, at a refinery, for example, or any workplace. If there's an event and you want to know where your staff are at one time, are they safe? So that's a third component that Horizon has built in. So again, we're the plumbing. We use multiple cloud. We can use multiple cameras, again, as long as it's an IP camera. And what we like to believe is we just can start solutioning against all the use cases that we've mentioned since we've joined Deloitte.
So you talked about tracking as one of the features and facial recognition, and you mentioned privacy, and I appreciated that. What about the creep factor? And I'm not the person who actually really has a problem with this. I have many loyalty programs where I walk in. I'm actually annoyed if they ask me my name. It's like, you know who I am by the time I walk in. Why do you still ask me? You can call me Robert. It's fine. What do you see out there? Where do people draw the line about creep factor? What's something very innovative that you see Horizon being used for?
So we're always cautious about the privacy side, and we've worked with privacy.
You call it creep?
Yeah, okay, the creep factor, it's okay. So we've worked with the privacy commissioners in different jurisdictions, and the person of interest use case is fantastic if it's volunteered, if it's I opt in because I'm a high roller at a casino, or I'm a VIP at an airport lounge. I want to be pampered. I want to be given information that makes my life easy. That's the good actor use case. The bad actor is a person who intends to go in and commit a crime at a retail store. The store has to be careful how they apply the technology. And so what we have recommended to our clients is you have to have adequate or a lot of signage to say, we are under video surveillance for safety and security reasons. Otherwise, it will become a media barnstorm, and obviously retailers don't want that or don't need that. So the more acceptable has been anything it's a helpful VIP guest experience, and we're seeing that across all industries. Sadly, the ones that are most impacted by COVID-19 are the ones that really love, like hotels, cruise lines, casinos. All of them are shut right now, but all those are the ones that are leveraging the technology.
I had two questions when you talked about you work with the privacy offices in different places. One of the things you do have to deal with is that some of this is actually regulated by law now, right?
Yes.
How is that for you? What are some of the differences you see? You're based in Canada. So just give me a little bit of a flavor of that, because that's got to get complicated really quick. And I'm assuming you have expertise in this that you bring to me as a client.
We thankfully, because Deloitte is as big as the organization is, we use our risk advisory or RA team a lot, and so they provide us the expertise. If I look at our global clients, we're working with a client right now in South Africa that has 1,900 cameras in 6 locations, and that kind of blew our mind, like 1,900 cameras, but that's how they operate. Our work we're doing in the UK, they know all about closed circuit television, so that's just normal business operation. But where we can, we do leverage the facial recognition, and again, it's been primarily in these VIP guest experiences where I don't want to introduce myself, I don't want to waste time, I don't want to talk to anybody, I just want to go and sit down, and those tend to be VIP guests. And so that's kind of how we've been working the market, Robert.
Rick, we're coming to the end of our coffee chat. Anything I didn't ask you? Anything that we should talk about?
No, not really. It's been a great 9-month journey that we've been here at side of Deloitte. We've hit every industry group, and it's been just a fantastic experience for, we were a 70-person company coming into a 300,000 person company.
One of the most surprising things you found that you didn't expect before joining Deloitte, but now sort of like, what surprised you the most?
Since joining Deloitte, how much we've been embraced. We kind of thought, well, it's a nice little story, and they'll pat us on the head, and we'll just get absorbed into the Borg, assimilated into the Borg, as it says. That hasn't happened, and we thought at first it was just people just being kind, but we quickly found that our story resonates, and the use cases are real. People can get their heads around, this is how it works, this is what you need. So it's not a hard sell. And look, to be honest, I haven't had anyone say, well, this doesn't make any sense. No one has said that to me. I just want to say thank you to you, Robert, for your interest, and everybody in the IoT community. It's been fantastic.
I guess resistance isn't futile after all.
I'd say that's right. Yeah, exactly. So good on you, as they say.
Well, thanks for joining. It was great having you. And with that, another Coffee with Mr. IoT is coming to an end. Thank you for watching and see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Coffee with Mr. IoT. To subscribe or to listen to more episodes, search for Coffee with Mr. IoT in your favorite podcatcher, or find us online at deloitte.com/US/Coffee with Mr. IoT. To watch the video version of our show, go to YouTube and search Coffee with Mr. IoT.